Hey there, I'm Daniel, and we talk about how to stay motivated while learning. Okay, have you ever sat down to learn something new? Maybe a language, a skill, a huge textbook for an exam, full of fire and excitement on day one. Only to find that fire is now, on day 14, a single, sad, sputtering matchstick. You're not just trying to light a candle. You're trying to light a damp log with it. And you think, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just stay motivated? Here's the secret. Nothing is wrong with you. The problem isn't you. The problem is the entire idea of motivation itself. We've been sold a story. The story goes like this. First, you get motivated, a bolt of inspiration. Then, you take massive action. You feel great, and you keep feeling that motivation forever, riding that wave to success. But that's a fairy tale. Motivation isn't a starter engine. It's not the thing that starts the car. Motivation is the result. It's the smell of the gasoline, the feeling of the wind in your hair after you've already begun to drive. If you wait to feel motivated to start, you might be waiting forever. So today, we're not going to talk about how to feel motivated. We're going to talk about how to build motivation brick by tiny brick, especially when you don't feel like it. Especially on day 14, when that matchstick is about to go out. Let's start with the biggest killer of motivation, the giant, foggy goal. I want to speak English fluently. I want to learn to code. I want to get a promotion. These are amazing destinations. But if I put you in a car and just said, drive to the mountains with no map, no signs, just the mountains are that way, how would you feel after an hour? Anxious, lost. Probably you'd pull over and check your phone, frustrated. That's what a giant goal feels like in your brain. It's so far away, the path is so unclear that your brain just gives up. It's like psychological fog. You can't see the next step, so you take no step at all. So we have to break through the fog. We do this with something so simple it's almost silly. The next clear step. Not the whole staircase, just the very next step. Your goal isn't speak English fluently. That's the mountain. Your goal for today is learn these 5 words for ordering coffee. Your goal for today is watch one 5-minute video and repeat the sentences out loud 3 times. Your goal for today is have one tiny pretend conversation with yourself in the mirror. See the difference? The fog clears. The path appears. It's just one little stone to step on. Your brain says, oh, that? I can do that. And when you do it, something magical happens. You get a tiny little spark, a sense of, hey, I did it. That spark is the beginning of real motivation. You didn't wait for motivation to come. You created it by taking a step. But okay, you take the step, and then life happens. Your phone buzzes. Your friend calls. You feel tired. The couch looks very, very comfortable. And the old you thinks, I don't feel motivated right now. I'll do it later. This is the crucial moment. This is where most people lose. They listen to that feeling, but we're going to use a little bit of psychological judo. We're going to trick our brain. It's called the 5-minute rule. You don't have to study for an hour. You don't have to write the whole chapter. You just have to do it for 5 minutes. Set a timer. Just 5. Anyone can do anything for 5 minutes. It's not scary. Tell yourself, I'm just going to open the book and read 1 page for 5 minutes. Or, I'm just going to listen to 1 short dialogue for 5 minutes. What happens almost every single time? The first minute is hard. The second minute, you're getting into it. By the third minute, you're focused. And when the timer beeps at 5 minutes, you often think, well, I'm already here. I might as well finish this exercise. You've overcome the initial resistance. The hardest part of any task is almost always just starting it. The 5-minute rule isn't about the work you do in 5 minutes. It's about the bridge it builds. It gets you from I don't want it to I'm already doing it. And once you're doing it, motivation often decides to show up late to its own party. Now, let's talk about the voice in your head. We all have it. On a good day, it says, you're doing great. Keep going. But on a bad day, and we all have them, it turns into a cruel critic. You'll never get this. Why are you so slow? Everyone else is better. This voice is motivation's biggest enemy. If you had a friend who talked to you like that, you would leave the room immediately. But we let this voice live in our heads rent-free. So we need to practice anew. A real-life conversation, but with yourself. Let's try it right now. Imagine you made a mistake. You practiced an English sentence, and it was completely wrong. The old, critical voice says, "That was terrible. You sound stupid. You'll never learn." We stop that. We acknowledge the feeling, but we change the words. We talk to ourselves like a kind teacher or a supportive friend. The new dialogue sounds like this. "Okay, that didn't go how I wanted. That's frustrating. But making a mistake means I'm trying something new. Let me hear that correct pronunciation one more time. I'll try it again, slower." Do you feel the difference? The first voice shuts you down. The second voice acknowledges the difficulty, but keeps the path forward open. It's compassionate, but it's not lazy. It says, "I see you're struggling. Let's try a different way." This self-talk is the hidden engine of long-term motivation. You can't keep going if you're constantly beating yourself up. Treat yourself with the same patience you would offer a beginner who is trying their best. This leads us to a beautiful idea from philosophy. There's an ancient concept called amor fati. It's a Latin phrase that means love of one's fate. It was embraced by the Stoics, like the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. It doesn't mean just passively accepting everything that happens. It means actively embracing it, especially the difficult parts, the obstacles, the failures, the days you don't feel like it. How do we apply amor fati to learning? You change your relationship with the struggle. Instead of thinking, "Why is this so hard for me? This proves I'm bad at this," you think, "This difficulty is part of my path. This frustration is the material from which I will build my understanding. This challenge is for me, not against me." When you hit a confusing grammar rule instead of resentment, you can feel a kind of curiosity. Here it is. This is the famous tricky rule everyone talks about. Let's see what you're all about. It turns the struggle from an enemy into a teacher. The boring repetition of vocabulary? That's not a chore. That's the ritual. That's you showing up consistently like a craftsman smoothing the wood. You start to love the process itself, not just the dream of the result. The sweat is the journey. But we are human. We need to see progress, or we feel like hamsters on a wheel, running, going nowhere. That's why you must become a detective of your own tiny wins. Most motivation dies in the invisible gap between nothing and something. We don't notice the small changes, so you have to look for them. You have to celebrate them. Did you understand a sentence in a movie today that you wouldn't have last week? That's a win. Write it down. Tuesday. Understood. What are you up to in the sitcom? Did you finally remember the difference between look, see, and watch? Win. Write it down. This isn't childish. This is neuroscience. When you acknowledge a win, your brain releases a little bit of dopamine. Dopamine is the "I did it" chemical. It makes you feel good, and more importantly, it makes your brain want to do the action again to get that feeling. You are literally wiring your brain to find learning rewarding. You're turning the process into its own reward. Don't wait for the big trophy at the end. Give yourself a tiny gold star every single day. The collection of those stars will light your way better than one distant, dimmed lighthouse ever could. And what about the days when even the 5-minute rule feels impossible? When the critic is loud and the fog is thick? This is where we need a deeper anchor. Motivation based on feelings will always disappear. We need a foundation based on identity. This is a powerful idea from modern psychology. Don't ask yourself, "What do I want to achieve?" Instead, ask, "Who do I want to become?" See the shift? "I want to get a good score on the test" is about an outcome. I'm the kind of person who shows up and studies consistently, even when it's hard, is about identity. On the days you don't feel like a learner, you can still act like the person you are becoming. You do the small action not because you're motivated, but because it's what that person does. It's just what you do now. It's part of you. You're not trying to learn English. You are a person who learns every single day in small ways. This identity is your anchor. The waves of laziness, distraction, frustration, they can rock the boat, but they can't drag the anchor. You hold firm. You do the small thing, not for the result, but to be true to yourself. Let's practice one more real-life conversation. This one is for the morning, when you first wake up and the bed is warm and your plan to study feels cold. The lazy voice says, "You can skip today. One day doesn't matter. Do it tomorrow. You're tired." And the voice of the person you are becoming says, "I hear you. You are warm and comfortable." But this is what we do. We start small. Let's just sit up. Let's just open the app for 2 minutes. We don't have to conquer the world before breakfast. We just have to show up. The motivation will come later. But for now, let's just be the person who shows up. And you move. You break the static state. Action, no matter how tiny, creates the momentum. Feeling follows action. Always. So to pull this all together, stop chasing the feeling of motivation as if it's a butterfly you must catch before you can begin. That's backwards. Start with the smallest, clearest action you can imagine. Use the 5-minute rule to build a bridge over resistance. Talk to yourself with the kindness of a good teacher. Embrace the struggle as your necessary training ground. Hunt for your tiny wins and celebrate them like great victories. And most importantly, tie your actions not to a distant goal, but to the identity of the person you're consciously, deliberately choosing to become. The fire of day one is beautiful, but it's not meant to last. You cannot live in a bonfire. What you can build is a hearth, a steady, reliable, warm center in your life. You feed it not with giant logs of effort once in a while, but with small, consistent pieces of kindling every single day. Some days it will blaze bright. Some days it will be just glowing coals. But it will always be there, warm, ready, yours. That is how you stay motivated. You don't stay motivated. You build a home for it, one small brick at a time, and you live there. Okay, bye.